The main thing that we need to set up is the height of the blade, how tall. That's very critical in this project. So all I did was I took my piece of wood and I drew a line in the center. I did my very best to get it centered. If you want to use a ruler, tape measure, whatever it takes to get it just right, that's fine. But it's pretty simple to find the middle. And I just set it right there. And as you can see, it's way too tall. So I just lower this down, lower it below what I need, and always raise up to what you want. In this case, I want to go just past center. So my line has a thickness there. I mean, it's not insignificant. It's about a 1/16 thick. So I'm going to go to the top of that line. So it is just a little bit past the center, and that's height-wise where I want it. The next thing that we need to do is figure out the distance from the fence to the blade. Because this is double thick, the tape measure on the saw is useless. So now we just simply take a tape measure and find 1/4 of an inch right there. If you need to use a regular steel ruler because the tip is kind of in the way of 1/4 inch, that's okay. Just be gentle, try not to whack into the blade. Now the idea is to find the distance from the exact inside of this tooth to here at 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. Now this piece that I have that kind of protects my fence has a big cutout. So if I simply move this up, now I can get my measurement and then I'll just slide it back to make my cuts. But you want to put that and just nudge it in. You're going to need to tap it and whack it just a little right about there. Lock it in. All right, and I put it back like that, and I should be all set. So I need 1/4 of an inch between the inside of the blade and whatever we're riding against, and I'm going to pass the board through this way, flip it around, and that way. That is the board that goes in as the top and the bottom, respectively, whichever is which, but it's the same cut. Notice how as I'm cutting, I'm not putting my fingers right on top of in line with that blade. They're off to the side. But I also don't have my hands way back because that'll lift up the front. So have pressure down on top of the board the whole time. The next setup, now that these two are both in, is we're going to make these two cuts. Now let me explain what that means. I measured down about 1 inch, and we're going to do the exact same cut here. And as you can see, I X'd it. That's what's being removed. And then we're going to leave about just a hair less than the thickness of the blade, than an actual saw blade, which is 1/8 of an inch, right here between, and do another cut right there. Now, why in the world are we doing that? Well, by making these two cuts, and then we'll have our top and bottom here and create the box. Once it's completely glued and built, I'm going to run it along a table saw to cut right here. This piece of wood right here between, holding it together, will disappear. Then the top will be able to shift down. And this part will cover this part, these two that are left, and we'll be able to make a nested lid. But this way we're doing it all together instead of in separate operations, which is more difficult. So I've already set the blade to 1 inch from here to the top. And I'll make that cut, and then we'll determine this distance and make the other cut. Again, hold it down, but not in line with the blade. The next cut, I need to move it down so that the distance from the inside of this cut to the blade is a little bit less than 1/8 of an inch, or close to it. You can measure it if you wish, but that's about it. Now remember, this isn't the cut. The actual cut's going to be this way, upside down. That's where I made my mark. So if it helps to put the marks on, that's fine, but just remember, these two are opposite each other. This one is always on the same side as the first two. The second one is down from the top, a little further in.